back in the United States, talking football, talking baseball playoffs, talking fantasy football. I am so excited to be with you guys today. It's not only almost the end of the work week, it is a Thursday, which means we've got Thursday night football ahead. I could not be more pumped to be talking to you guys. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a delay. We were traveling there for a couple days, but I am so excited to be back to talk to you guys about week 6 of the NFL. Crazy to think that we are on week 6, but we've got a lot to cover, especially for you fantasy owners who obviously have questions about who to start, who to sit, what you should be doing to kind of match up this week. We have a number of injuries. Nico Collins was the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football. No longer can say that this week as there's an injury. We've got a lot of questions to answer. Hopefully we can help you guys out over the course of the next hour plus. Drew Hazard, happy to see you. Nico, happy to see you. We're going to get to your questions and your comments right away, but make sure, 1, hit that follow button no matter the platform you're watching on, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick. Make sure you hit the follow button. 2, make sure you're throwing your question or your comment in the chat. We'll answer all of them over the course of the show, so make sure you're throwing them in there. We'll get to all of them right away. And finally, if you do like the conversation or I answer your question, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're supporting the channel. Nico, trade Chuba Hubbard and Kraft for Montgomery. I would say yes. I think Chuba Hubbard's value, even though it's gone up, doesn't quite match Montgomery. So Nico, I would say yes to that one. Ben Scott, I do have a Thursday night football pick. I will put it up on the board, not right away, but I will give it out over the course of the show. Gus, Kyler or Fields this week? This question's an interesting one. Fields going up against the Las Vegas Raiders this week. Kyler Murray going up against the Green Bay Packers this week. Both teams have some interesting vulnerabilities, specifically the Raiders. Raiders as a run defense are bottom 10 in the league. Raiders as a pass defense, kind of middle of the pack, little bit more mid. Green Bay Packers give up a lot of passing yards. Green Bay Packers are better against the run. I lean towards Kyler Murray. I actually think Kyler Murray is going to have the better performance because the Packers are vulnerable in the secondary. I think there's some opportunity there. So, Gus, I lean Kyler Murray just barely. Answering a question over on Kick, Toby asks, flex BTJR or Deontay Johnson. This is an interesting one for me because the Jaguars this week are going up against the Chicago Bears in London. That's a game in London. Meanwhile, Carolina this week is going up against, by the way, Jacksonville is going up against Atlanta. I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, towards BTJ. I know it's a tough matchup this week going up against the Bears, but I trust him as a true wide receiver 1. The Atlanta Falcons pass defense so far this year has been pretty good. I know the Bears are slightly better, but I think I like BTJR, Toby, a little bit more. I fully start Godwin, Metcalf, Ayuk, Montgomery. Really tough question this week, in part because the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers going at it head-to-head. Seattle Seahawks are a top 10 pass defense. 49ers are a top 12. Both of those are a tough matchup. Godwin's matchup this week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they go up against the Saints. Saints pass defense so far this year is vulnerable. I like Godwin 1. I like Godwin number 1 in that group, so Godwin would absolutely be 1. Detroit Tigers play the Cowboys. I like Montgomery 2, so I like Godwin and Montgomery. And then between Metcalf and Ayuk, it's a bit of a coin flip for me. I lean slightly, I think, towards Ayuk, but do I have a high confidence level on that? I really don't. If you wanted to take Montgomery because at least he'll be getting more targets than Ayuk, I get it. But it's a bit of a coin flip for me between the two guys going tonight. Thanks for the question. BTB Sunny asks, which one should you go with? Cincinnati Bengals this week and T. Higgins are going up against the New York Giants. Meanwhile, Dell is going up against the Patriots. And by the way, Dell is now wide receiver 2 on the Houston Texans now that Nico Collins goes down. The New England Patriots pass defense has been very vulnerable outside of the number 1 corner. Christian Gonzalez has been fantastic, but the rest of the pass defense not as good. I actually like Dell. BTB, I like Tank Dell just slightly more. Again, Cincinnati this week is going up against the New York Giants. Giants are actually a better pass defense than the Patriots, at least statistically. So BTB, I'd go Tank Dell. James, should I start Ingram or Conklin? It's a great question. I'd go Ingram if he's healthy enough to go. Xander Simmons, start 3. Lamb, Metcalf, Scary Terry, or Garrett Wilson. I'm going to start Lamb, Metcalf, and Scary Terry. Lamb, Metcalf, and Scary Terry. The Buffalo Bills pass defense, I'm just a little bit concerned about it. I'm not crazy about Garrett Wilson this week. A lot of change with the Jets. Not quite sure what I'm getting. So I'm going to avoid Garrett Wilson at least for 1 week. Toby, thoughts on Tucker Kraft? Keep him or trade? Keep him and trade Kincaid? I think Kincaid's value is there, but Kraft has been hot of late. The Green Bay Packers this week are going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona as a pass defense is kind of mid. Meanwhile, obviously the Jets are a better pass defense, so I like Kraft more than Kincaid this week. Kraft over Kincaid this week. Luis, Najee, Deontay Johnson, or Flowers. Baltimore is going up against Washington. Washington as a pass defense so far this year is better than one may think, actually. Slightly better than one may think. Deontay Johnson, Najee. The matchup for Najee is one. Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Raiders. I like Najee Harris this week. I do like Najee. I think I lean slightly towards Flowers over Deontay Johnson, but that's one where I'm kind of trusting Flowers and I'm trusting Lamar Jackson maybe a little bit more than I should. Trade Ford and likely for CMC? Yes, I would actually. I do like that trade. So Peace Control, I do like that trade. Coop, Mooney, Deontay Johnson, or Dell? Great question. I'm leaning slightly towards Mooney. I know he's questionable. That's my only concern. If he's not good enough to go, it would be Dell. But Coop, I'm going to go Mooney for the moment. Liam, Freiermuth or Komet? Great question. I'd go Komet. I'm leaning Komet on that one. Dom, Philadelphia Eagles this week are going up against the Cleveland Browns. I like Kraft matchup a little bit more, I think. So Dom, I lean towards Kraft. Wingman is 4 droppable. I prefer if you traded him, Wingman, throw him into a trade to try to get some value from him. Laz, thanks so much for throwing some confetti in the air. Because Laz just did that, I am going to put a pick up on the board. We put up a pick. We're going to put out some NFL picks for tonight and some MLB postseason picks. First pick for tonight, I'm taking the 49ers on the money line. 49ers on the money line. A lot of the trends that I've looked at suggest coming off a loss, Kyle Shanahan, good head coach to bet on. Brock Purdy, good head coach to bet on. And frankly, the Seahawks coming off a loss, then facing a division opponent and being a dog, they're not as good as on the comeback game as you may have think, at least since the Legion of Boom era. Looking at where the public is betting this game, not only are the tickets backing the 49ers, but the money's backing it as well. We like to follow the money more than the public tickets, but the money is actually even more on board with the 49ers. I'm very high on San Francisco. I know the sports books are going to be praying for the Seahawks to win, but I think this is a night that the favorite is actually worth backing. I think the 49ers go up to Seattle and get a win. We'll talk about the spread in a little bit. But for our first pick of the evening, 49ers money line, that's the first one we're putting up on the board. So for all those that are curious about the Thursday night game, we've covered that. We'll talk about some MLB postseason as well in a little bit. Landon Wilson, DK or Evans? I also have Debo starting. Okay, Debo is a must start for me. He actually has phenomenal numbers historically against the Seahawks. So Debo, I think, is going to be a sneaky good play. Between DK and Evans, I think I lean just slightly towards Evans. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going up against the Saints. Saints as a pass defense so far this year are bottom 10. So I think I like Mike Evans just a little bit more than DK Metcalf. Lucas, I get Chuba Hubbard and give Reed. Good trade. I don't want to give up Jaden Reed right now. I love how he's used by the Packers in a multitude of ways. Run game, pass game. They find him in a lot of offensive sets. I think his connection with Love is real. I don't really want to give him up. I know Chuba Hubbard is performing like an RB2, but can I really trust him to continue that kind of production with Jonathan Brooks coming back? I'd rather own Reed, so I'm going to say no to the trade, Lucas. Hoeing, we dropping Rice now. Yeah, Rashee Rice is done for the year. They've made that announcement, so Rashee Rice is worth dropping unless you're in a keeper league. Brandon, pick one. Dobbins, Bigsby, Downs, or Etienne? Really good question. This is all going to be about the matchups on this one. So between Bigsby and Etienne, I prefer Bigsby, just to say moving forward, because Bigsby is now apparently the RB1 in that offense. But that said, let's take a step back. The Los Angeles Chargers go up against the Denver Broncos. They're not a great run defense, so we certainly will consider him. Jacksonville this week's going up against the Bears. Bears are a good run defense, so I don't like Bigsby or Etienne. And then finally, the question you had about the Colts. Colts are going up against the Tennessee Titans pass defense. Tennessee has actually been the #1 pass defense so far this year. So actually, out of all the players that you mentioned, Brandon, I think I like Dobbins the most. Dobbins' matchup is probably the one I prefer the most. Again, the Chargers this week are going up against the Denver Broncos. Actually, I take it back. Denver's a decent run defense. Denver is slightly better than the Bears. Okay, so I'm going to change this up, actually. Brandon, I'd go Tank Bigsby. I'm going to go Tank Bigsby just barely ahead of Dobbins and Downs. It's close, but Brandon, I'll go Bigsby on this one. Bob Jeff Supreme, start 2 running backs. I'd go Bigsby for one of them, and then Cincinnati's going up against the New York Football Giants. It's not a great matchup, but I don't want to double up on the Jaguars running game, so I'll go Chase Brown and Bigsby, Bob Jeff Supreme. Chase Brown and Bigsby would be the 2. Cameron, JSN or Downs for the flex. And man, that's a really tough one. I'm going to lean just slightly towards JSN. Again, that's more of a statement about the Tennessee Titans pass defense so far this year than it is about the 49ers, but I'll take JSN over Josh Downs. T. Wayne, J.K. Dobbins over Higgins in a PPR flex play. Really interesting. As I just looked up, Denver's a slightly better run defense than I expected. Meanwhile, Cincinnati is going up against the New York Giants in New York. That's the Sunday night. I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, towards Higgins. I think I like Higgins a little bit more than Dobbins, especially in a PPR. So T-Wayne, I'm leaning Higgins over Dobbins just slightly. Start Slayton if Neighbors is out in a 10-man. Jack, if you lack other options. I'm not crazy about that one, but I certainly understand it. That said, thus far this year, the Cincinnati Bengals as a pass defense, they've struggled the last few weeks, but they've had good weeks overall. So, Cold Stefan, who should I play? I have Purdy or Geno. Purdy. If I'm going to start a quarterback for tonight, it's going to be Purdy. Lottie, I'd go Murray over Geno. Murray over Geno would be the call for me. Hojo, I think Debo's going to have a big night. He's got a great track record historically against the Seahawks, so I'm leaning heavily into Debo. I'd go Debo over Ayuk. 49ers fan, DK yards and touchdowns tonight predictions. I really don't love DK. The only reason I say that, we can look into it right now. Let's quickly look at the player prop bet. Let's look at DK Metcalf and see if there are any player prop bets that we want to jump on. First things first, let's look at receptions for him. Right now it's at 4.5. Against the 49ers, he's missed this in 2 straight games. Over his last 10, specifically, let's look at his last 10 home games. He's gone 0 for 3 in his last 3 games on this. This opened at 5, came back down to 4.5. If you could get it at 3.5 and play the 4, I like it. I'm not loving it though. The 49ers are the 5th best defense in terms of receptions. So I'm not crazy about DK on receptions. How about receiving yards? Set at 59.5. He's hit this in 3 of his last 4 games. He missed it last week, but he had 55 yards. Against the 49ers though, struggle city. Failed to hit this number back-to-back games. If you're going to take this one, I would buy it down. I'm okay taking DK Metcalf yards. Buy it at over 49.5. So if you're going to take DK Metcalf over on receiving yards, buy it at 49.5. You can get that at -137 on Prize Picks, -210 on FanDuel. Throw it into some parlays, but I'd rather have DK Metcalf over 49.5. I feel like 59.5 might be asking a little bit much of him. Let's continue to look at his player prop bets just a little bit. Anytime touchdown right now is a +150 play. Again, against the 49ers. Does actually have a touchdown in his last game against the 49ers. In his last 10 games overall. Bit of a hot and cold play when it comes to home games. He only has 2 touchdowns in his last 10 home games. So I think if there's only one play I like for DK, it's over the 49.5 receiving yards. When it comes to longest reception, it's set at 22.5. This has actually been a very consistent play overall. He's hit this in 7 of his last 10 games. If you could somehow buy this down to 19.5, it's a great play. I'd be willing to take the over 22.5 receiving yards. Longest reception over 22.5 receiving yards. You could talk me into that one, but again, if there's one play I like for DK, it's probably over 49.5 receiving yards, but I would consider over 22.5 as the longest reception of the game for him. That's a quick recap of the DK Metcalf player prop bets that are out there. If you guys, by the way, want every pick that I make every day, DM me on Instagram. We're back stateside, so I'm going to update my picks in just a little bit. If you want every bet that I make every day, DM me on Instagram. Alan, is Christian Kirk worth a start this week? Well, Jacksonville has an interesting matchup going up against the Chicago Bears in London. The Chicago Bears are a top 10 pass defense, so I don't really like Christian Kirk as much this week, actually. Shazzy asking a flex play, Dell, Bucky, or Downs. Tampa Bay this week plays up against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are vulnerable in the pass game. They're actually a good run defense. So what I would say is, Shazzy, I'd take Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell with no Nico Collins is the best play. I'm going to go with Tank Dell out of that group. Brant C, 1, 2, 3. What's good, buddy? PPR, Garrett Wilson or Debo? Debo. I like Debo more. Between Kittle and McBride, that's a tough one for me. I think I lean McBride just slightly. I'd go Debo and McBride. Rachel, Burrow, or Kirk Cousins. So, the Atlanta Falcons this week are going up against the Carolina Panthers. A lot of good opportunity there. Meanwhile, Cincinnati going up against the New York Football Giants. Between those two teams, Carolina is the worst is the lesser pass defense. So Rachel, I'll lean Kirk Cousins. I know Joe Burrow has been hot of late, but I'm gonna go Kirk Cousins because that matchup's a favorable one. Blood, YWD, BTJ or DK Metcalf. I'm going to lean DK. I don't feel good about it, but actually the Bears are a slightly better pass defense than the 49ers are. Not by much. But I think I lean just slightly towards DK Metcalf. I don't feel great about it, but I'm leaning DK over BTJ. Cook, what's good? By the way, subscriber-only shows are coming back. If you are a subscriber, we are doing a subscriber-only show tonight as well. I'm going to go out to a bar to watch most of the game, but when I come back, I'll do a subscriber-only show tonight. So, subscriber-only shows allow you guys to get a lot of questions answered all in one show. So make sure you subscribe on TikTok if you want to be a part of it. Cook knows what's up with that. Does Wilson's stock go up with the Saleh firing? The answer is yes, but really not because they changed Robert Saleh, but because of the change in offensive play caller. Yes, I think Hackett is an idiot. I've said that for years. I think Nathaniel Hackett's an idiot. Actually, on my flight back from Rome, I was in London, but my flight back from London, I watched the Hard Knocks. They had the Hard Knocks with the Jets available, and I watched the entire season, and there were a lot of tells in that. A lot of tells. You could tell that Aaron Rodgers didn't really respect Robert Saleh. I think he viewed him more as like, we're almost peers, we're almost the same age, you haven't accomplished that much. That was something that was apparent. The other thing that was apparent is Nathaniel Hackett's an idiot. But Nathaniel Hackett is legitimately stupid. Like, he might be a really good motivator in terms of, like, he says things to get guys pumped up. But when it comes to X's and O's, Nathaniel Hackett's not very impressive. So I do think the Jets needed to make that change at offensive coordinator. And I do think that's going to help Garrett Wilson. Will it have an immediate impact? I don't love the matchup against the Buffalo Bills this week. But that said, overall, I do think Garrett Wilson's season is going to get better and better and better from this point on. By the way, you guys know, I thought Robert Saleh was going to get fired. I just didn't think it would happen so quickly. You've also probably heard by now, I think Bill Belichick would make a lot of sense, but it sounds like they're going to ride with Ulbrich for the rest of the season. By the way, thank you for the confetti that just got thrown up in the air. I'm going to give out another pick for everybody right now. I'm taking 49ers minus 2.5. If you want to take a spread play, buy it down to 2.5. Be on the other side of a field goal. But I think the 49ers cover minus 2.5 tonight. I think the 49ers may win by even more, but I'm just playing it a bit safe. I like 49ers minus 2.5. That's my play on the spread. So, thanks for the confetti. Every time we get confetti, we give out picks. You know how we do. D-Rock, Cortland Sutton, or Rachaad White? Well, again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a tough run game matchup this week. Meanwhile, Denver is playing the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers, so far as a pass defense this year, have actually been pretty good. So this is a tough matchup either way, D-Rock. If you want to play Rachaad White, I get it, because he's going to be used in the run and the pass game. That may be worth it to you. Saints are not a good not a good pass defense. So D-Rock, I think I lean Rachaad White, but it's very, very close between the two, both with tough matchups. Chris, start 3. I would start McLaurin for 1. I would start Evans for 2. This may be a week you want to start Godwin and Evans. I'm not super high on usually starting 2 wide receivers from the same team, but BTJ and Ayuk have tough matchups. If you don't want to double up on the Bucks, I'd go Ayuk, but I'd go McLaurin, Evans, and Godwin, Chris. I actually think those are the best 3. D-Clan, London, ETN for T and Terry McLaurin. I actually like this trade. ETN's value is plummeted, so if you're getting T. Higgins and Terry McLaurin, I think that's a trade worth making. Aiden Thompson, Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, BTJ, or London, pick 2. Well, I'm definitely going with Drake London. I really like Drake London's matchup this week. That one makes a lot of sense to me. What's interesting is Cleveland has a good matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles as a pass defense so far this year have not been good. So Aiden, if you're willing to trust the Browns passing game enough, Amari Cooper is the better play. It would be London and Amari Cooper for me. But if you want to fade Amari Cooper, I get it. He struggled so much this year. Dallas Ogburn's asking Montgomery or Jacobs. So the Cowboys host the Lions. Cowboys are a bad run defense. That said, Arizona's even worse. Both have good matchups. But Dallas, I'm going to go Josh Jacobs. The Arizona Cardinals are the 5th worst run defense in the league. I'll go Josh Jacobs just barely. Masked Panda is asking Fields or Jalen Hurts. Cleveland as a pass defense so far this year, they're actually better than you may think. Meanwhile, Fields has a matchup against the Raiders. Raiders are not a very good pass defense, or at least worse than that. I'd go Fields over Hurts. Masked Panda, I'm going to go Fields over Hurst based on the matchup. Toby, start Swift or Moss. I'm leaning for the moment towards starting Moss. Jacksonville's actually a pretty good run defense this year. So I'm going to lean towards starting Moss, Toby. Moss would be the play for me. Give me one quick second. Thank you so much. All right, we're back to answering your questions, everybody. X1, Amari Cooper, Najee, or Jacoby Myers, pick 2. I think I'm leaning towards Cooper and Najee. X1, Cooper and Najee. Deep, XKJ, what defense would you recommend this week? Bears, Colts, Falcons, Raiders. I lean towards the Bears. Deep, I'm going Bears on the defense. The RJ, start 2. Wow, tough one. I really like Odunze's matchup. I'll say Odunze. Thanks, Adam, for the confetti. Another pick's coming in one moment. I like the Odunze matchup. Sermon's value goes back down now that Jonathan Taylor is back. Roschon Johnson has a tough matchup going up against Jacksonville. I like Odunze more. The Commanders going up against Baltimore. Baltimore is a great run defense, so I don't like that. I think it's Odunze. Or the RJ, I'll go Odunze and Kirk. I think Odunze and Kirk are probably the best 2. I hope it's a PPR because that might be a better play for you. Drew Hazard is asking me to sit one player between Reed, Metcalf, CeeDee Lamb, and Godwin. I'm definitely starting Godwin. I'm definitely starting CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to start Reed over Metcalf. I don't feel great about that, but Drew, I think I'd rather sit Metcalf. Jaden Reed going up against the Arizona the Arizona pass defense. Arizona's pass defense is much worse than the 49ers. So, Drew, I'll sit DK Metcalf. Getting back to questions on TikTok, Kobe Fisher, Stevenson and Evans for Henry and Kobe, I'd rather have the trade for JT and Smitty. I'd rather go JT and Smitty on that one. I think that's the better trade. Soup Sawyer, Lamar or Burrow as the play? Really good question. Washington Commanders pass defense, they've been playing much better of late. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati matchup against the New York Giants, I think it's a more favorable one. I'm going to take Burrow over Lamar, Soup Sawyer. Burrow over Lamar is the play. Martin, next question. Martin saying start two. Martin, I'm going to go Wicks and Williams. By the way, for all of those that watched the show last Sunday, I am sorry for Wicks. I thought he'd have a much better game. If that dude could catch, maybe we'd be saying something. Luca, you're asking Kraft, Wicks, JSN, or Bucky. I'm leaning Wicks. Luca, I'm leaning Wicks out on that one. I don't feel great about it because what he did last week, but I think Wicks is the better play. Toby, I'm going to go Bucky over Etienne. Bucky over Etienne's the play for me, Toby. Brent, one wide receiver and one flex. Really like Godwin. Godwin would definitely be one of them. And I'd go Terry McLaurin as the other. So Godwin and Terry McLaurin would be the two, Brent. Aiden Thompson is asking Pollard, Robinson, Chuba Hubbard, Chase Brown. Good questions all the way around. Again, Carolina is playing the Atlanta Falcons as a run defense so far this season. Falcons have actually struggled against the run, so I think Chuba Hubbard is a good play this week, Aiden. Chuba Hubbard is a good play. And then Tennessee is going up against the Indianapolis Colts. Colts have been the second worst run defense in the league. So Aiden, I'd go Chuba Hubbard and I'd go Pollard. Chuba Hubbard and Pollard, Aiden Thompson would be the two for me. R. Lopez, I'd go Jordan Love over Brock Purdy. Jordan Love over Brock Purdy, better matchup. That's what makes me think that way. M. Nunez, I'd go Mayfield over Fields. Mayfield, really good matchup against a bad Saints pass defense. I'm going to take Mayfield over Fields, M. Nunez. Let's go to Gavin Wheeler. Gavin Wheeler, what's good? I just traded Hubbard and Kraft for Kyron, then traded Garrett Wilson and Jennings for Amon-Ra St. Brown. You are wheeling and dealing, obviously upgrading in terms of brand name. Good job, Gavin. User 7565, trade Chuba Hubbard now. You may want to wait a week. Again, Chuba Hubbard has a phenomenal matchup this week. Carolina going up against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons so far this year as a run defense are bottom four. They're the fourth worst run defense in the league statistically. So I think Chuba Hubbard may be worth holding on to for one more week. And then after a big game, maybe a perfect time to dump him and unload him in a trade. Xander, Kincaid, or Ferguson? I'd go Ferguson. Kincaid has a tough matchup. I'd go Ferguson. Toby, Bears or Eagles defense? I'm leaning Bears. Toby, I'd go Bears. Brock Ford, panic sold James Cook and Debo for Bijan and Wicks. Yeah, didn't like that trade. I like the Bijan piece of it, but I do think you gave up more value than you got back, Brock Ford. Nuv DK, I'd lean toward the Broncos defense. Nuv DK, I'd go Broncos defense. I think Arizona actually could put up more points than people expect. Luca, Love or Kyler? Really tough question. I'll go Love just barely, but I don't feel great about it because Kyler's going to get a lot of rushing yards, but I'm going to lean Love. I'll lean Love, Luca. Luis Garcia, Tracy Jr., or Bucky Irving? Man, not crazy about saying it, but I think I lean towards Tracy. The reason for that, the Cincinnati Bengals are the third worst run defense, so I'm going to go Tracy Jr. He had a monster game last week. I'll go Tracy Jr. this week. He's got a lot of value. By the way, speaking of which, Chuba Hubbard and Tracy Jr. would make very good DFS plays on Sunday. Two guys who would probably be priced pretty low that you can get a lot of value at the running back position. I don't know if you play daily fantasy, but if you do, consider Tracy Jr., consider Chuba Hubbard. Two players with really good... Consider Tony Pollard. Three running backs with good matchups who might not cost you too much in a DFS lineup. Matt Peterson, Lamb, Hubbard, and BTJ for Jurin and A.J. Brown. I don't like it because I don't like giving up Lamb and BTJ. Lamb and BTJ are both wide receiver ones. I don't really like this trade. Blappy, Slayton, or Bucky Irving? Man, that's a tough one. Slayton's matchup isn't a great one, but I think I like it a little bit more. I think I lean Slayton just barely. I'm not crazy about it, but frankly, the Cincinnati Bengals pass defense has struggled the last few weeks. I'll lean Slayton just a little bit. Shazam Spam, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Tucker for Purdy, Breece Hall, and Aubrey. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, and here's why. If Tyreek Hill has value, it's going to come back week 8 with Tua Tagovailoa. So I like Breece Hall. I think I like Breece Hall more than Tyreek. It's very, very close. I'd rather have Mahomes than Brock Purdy. I think Mahomes is going to have a really big second half of the year. So I'd rather have Mahomes. It's very close, but Shazam, I don't think I like the trade. I don't think I like it enough. If you're doing it to get Breece Hall, I get it. But the signs aren't pointing towards Breece Hall being a great own right now. By the way, he does have a great matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's been a terrible run defense this year. Maybe the change in offensive coordinator will have an impact. It's a big question mark for me because I don't know if Breece... I know what I'm getting with Tyreek when Tua comes back, or so I think. Do I know what I'm getting from Breece Hall? I just don't know, Shazam. I don't think so. Chris, Wicks, Leggett, or Lazard. I'd go Wicks. And I'm leaning for the moment towards... I'll go Wicks and Lazard. Wicks and Lazard, Chris. Wicks and Lazard. Gabe, between BTJ and Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm going to lean just slightly towards Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't like it, but the matchup is a tougher one for BTJ. Right now, Wan'Dale Robinson has been playing hot. I think he's a slightly better matchup, so I lean in that direction. Daniel, I go Cook. I go Cook over Sermon. Cook over Sermon because I'm expecting Jonathan Taylor to be back. Samsonite, Debo, Evans, or Moore. Right now, you've got three players who have phenomenal matchups, but I got to go DJ Moore. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the worst pass defense in the league. Samsonite, I think you have three of the best wide receivers this week. All three are a great play, but I'm going to go DJ Moore. Ricky 4, Goddard or Pitts? Great question on this one. Philadelphia going up against Cleveland. Tough enough matchup. Ricky, I'd go Pitts. Ricky, I'll go Kyle Pitts. C.J. Young, Quentin Johnston, and Eckler. Yeah, but Eckler's matchup's not a good one against the Baltimore run defense, rather. CJ, I'll go Quentin Johnston. CJ, I'll go Quentin Johnston. Blade, Bone, Z. Start Hurts or Love? Love. Blade, start Love over Hurts. Love over Hurts. Mr. Plow, oh Mr. Plow, with Bijan just popping up on the injury report, I'd go Tank Bigsby. I think I lean, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to go, because the Bears' run defense is good enough, I'm going to lean towards Chase Brown just barely. Chase Brown, barely. I don't feel great about it, but I think it's a slightly better matchup. It's very close, Mr. Plow, between those two. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Again, I'm going to do a subscriber-only show tonight, maybe at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So make sure you subscribe on TikTok if you want to join that show tonight. Drew Hazard, I'd go Kirk Cousins. Drew Hazard, I'd go Kirk Cousins. Joss, this trade just happened in my league. Saquon and Curtis Samuel for J.K. Dobbins and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think I'm the only one that thinks this is a super unfair trade. First of all, I don't think it should matter to you. I'm not big on vetoing trades unless they are egregious. This isn't egregious, so I don't think it should be a thorn in your side. I don't think it's a massive upgrade. I think Amon-Ra and DK are slightly better, but Saquon on his own could be worth it. So, Joss, I'm not going to get my panties in a wad over it. Nuve DK, I'm leaning for the moment towards Tucker Kraft. I'd go Kraft over Ingram. I don't feel great about it from a brand name standpoint, but I lean there. Toby, I traded Kupp and ETN for Hill and Pollard. I think that trade's going to work out for you. Again, you're focused on the long-term value, but Toby, I think it works out. Slur, I'd go Dell over Pickens. Slur, I'd go Dell over Pickens. Ricky, pick up Wicks or Tolbert. I'd say Wicks. I lean towards Wicks. Do I feel great about it? No, but I lean Wicks. Noah, James Conner and Jacoby Myers for Breece Hall. Yes, I actually would do that deal because I don't really value Jacoby Myers, and the upgrade from James Conner to Breece Hall I think is there rest of season. So Noah, yes to that trade. Breece Hall this week? Yes, yes, yes. You got to start Breece Hall this week because the Bills are such a bad run defense. I think this could also be a good week to start Bo Allen for those who have him. Luis Garcia, I'd go Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray just barely, very, very close on this one. With Pittsburgh going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, there is some value to Justin Fields, but I'm going to lean Kyler Murray just barely. Xander Simmons. I'm going to go Montgomery for 1. And I'm probably going Bucky Irving for the, Xander. I'll go Montgomery and Rachaad White. The Saints are a good run defense. They're a bad pass defense. I think Rachaad White gets used a performances. You don't quite know what the teams and the lineups, you don't know so much. You want to get some data. You guys know I base all my picks and my research on actual data, not just on gut feeling. So I like to get a little bit of relevant data because pulling it from the previous year doesn't always actually help you out. So JP, I'm not betting the NHL probably until November. Once November hits, I'm betting the NHL almost every day. But until November, I like to get a little bit of data about these teams before I'm backing my money or putting my money on one of the teams. Fenny Whopper, should I trade Jamison Williams for Chris Olave? Yes, yes, yes. You're trading a wide receiver 2 for a wide receiver 1. Absolutely, I do it. CJ, would you trade Debo and Eckler for Olave and Stevenson? The answer is yes. Stevenson value actually goes up with Drake May being in the lineup because now defenses have to respect the pass a little bit more. I like the Olave and Stevenson side. Even though the Patriots offensive line is garbage, I'd rather have Olave and Stevenson. Eric Anderson dropped Bucky for Worthy. I think it's an okay idea. I'd rather trade Bucky Irving because he does have some value. If you drop him, he'll be scooped up immediately. So I would rather trade him to a running back hungry team. C. Fernando, is Olave a wide receiver 1 this week? Absolutely. Tampa Bay is a bottom 5 pass defense. I really like Chris Olave this week. Very high on him. JP, Reed or Swift? So Swift actually doesn't have a great matchup this week. The Jacksonville Jaguars run defense is actually pretty good. I'm leaning towards Jaden Reed, JP. Jaden Reed would be the play for me. Owen, JSN, or B-Rob? Really tough, really tough. But Brian Robinson Jr. has one of the toughest matchups of the week. I don't like Brian Robinson Jr. I'm going to go JSN. I respect the Ravens' run defense. The Ravens are allowing 60 rushing yards per game. That is elite. I'm going to sit B. Robinson this week. It's hard for me to do it because he's been such a consistent touchdown play, but I'm going to go JSN. James Jackson, Wicks or Wandale? That's a really tough question, but I'm going to lean for the moment towards Wicks. Do I feel good about it? No, but I think the Arizona defense might be slightly more vulnerable. The only concern I have is Wicks has hands made of bricks, but I'm going to go with Wicks just barely. Bob, trade Shaheed for Dell? Yes. I'm actually very high on Tank Dell. I think the injury to Nico Collins may not be as big a gain for Stephon Diggs as it is for Tank Dell. Tank Dell goes from the odd man out to being a critical wide receiver 2. Very high on Tank Dell this week. Very high on Tank Dell with Nico Collins out of the lineup. Spencer, should I start Roshan or Shakir? I think I'm leaning slightly towards Roshan. Shakir he has a brutal matchup against the Jets pass defense. I think I like Roshan Johnson maybe a little bit more. Logan, start Debo or Mooney? I like them both. Mooney has the better matchup. Debo has a phenomenal history against the lineup he's facing. I think for the moment, I'll lean Debo, believe it or not. I'm going to take the risk and I'll go Debo. Spencer H, should I start? Got that one. Brent, someone offered me BTJ for Debo. Do I do it? I'm sorry asking. No problem. I hope everyone who's going through the hurricane is staying safe. The answer is, Brent, I don't like the trade this week, but rest of season I do. I think Brian Thomas Jr. will outscore Debo for the rest of the season. This week, I think Debo's going to have the better game. So if you told that player that you wanted to hold off 1 week and then make the trade, I think that would be smart for you. But if you have to do it now, I think long-term value, BTJ is better. This week, week 6, I think Debo's the better start. Appreciate the questions. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. We have been live for about the last 45 minutes. Don't worry, we're not stopping now. But I want to make sure you guys are catching some things. 1, if you want every pick that I make every day, DM me on Instagram. We give away our picks for free. You guys know I never charge for my picks, so DM me on Instagram if you want those. Those will be updated once I finish the show. 2, we are going to do a subscriber-only show on TikTok later tonight. So if you want to join our subscriber-only show, it's going to be late. It's going to be around 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. But if you want to ask a bunch of questions all in one sitting, join our show. TikTok subscriber, so subscribe on TikTok to join that. We will do a show tomorrow. We will do a show tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. So a Friday show at 4:30 if you don't want to subscribe but you want to get more questions answered. Appreciate you being with us. Let's get back to it. Brett, McLaurin or Olave? Man, I really like both of them. I think both have very good weeks, but I'm going to go Terry McLaurin. Ravens are the second worst pass defense from a stat standpoint, so I'd go McLaurin over Olave, plus he's been cooking hot. Michaela, thanks so much for helping us out, Michaela. Appreciate you letting them know. Dallas Ogburn, I'd go Tank Dell. Dallas Ogburn, I'd go Tank Dell. Eric Anderson, I'd go Mason and oof. I don't really like your plays this week. Eric Anderson, I really don't like your matchups this week overall. I think I'd go Walker and Mason. I think Walker and Mason are probably the two. Walker and Mason, Eric Anderson would be the plays for me. Ryan, J.K. Dobbins or Najee Harris? I'd go Najee Harris. He's got a better matchup. Cowboys have not been a good run defense this year, bottom 10. So I'll go Najee Harris. Fenny Whopper, I made a trade. What do you think? Gave up Breece Hall and Brian Robinson, got Bijan Robinson and DJ Moore. Honestly, I actually like the trade for you. Breece Hall and Brian Robinson are both really good running backs. They both could be an RB1. But I think DJ Moore might be more consistent. Between Breece Hall and Brian Robinson, I could see some weeks where they're hot and cold. I think DJ Moore might be the most consistent play involved in that trade. I don't hate it. I'll probably approve it. I think it's a very fair deal. Very fair. I give credit to the owners in that deal. LFGM, Let's Go Mets 2024 in Kanye's version. I'd go DJ Moore over Ayuk. DJ Moore over Ayuk, that's the better play. Sean, great to see you. For the flex, Montgomery, Brian Thomas Jr. or Chuba Hubbard. Yikes, really tough one for me. I think I lean just slightly towards Chuba Hubbard. I want to say Montgomery, but Chuba Hubbard has the better matchup. Sean, I'd go Chuba Hubbard just barely over Montgomery, but it's very close. Big Drip is asking Algier or Moss. I'd go Moss on this one. I'd go Moss, I think. Hold on one second. No, Big Drip will go Algier. I'll go Algier. He's got the better matchup. The risk for me is Algier's not going to get as many carries as Moss, so I don't feel great about it. But the matchup is better. I'll lean Algier, Big Drip, just based on the matchup. Tanner, Dayton, Jacobs for Evans is a fair trade. Because of how consistent Mike Evans is, it's actually a more fair trade than it should be. I never like trading a running back, so I'm not crazy about the deal, but I think Evans is a very consistent play. Peter Fitzpatrick, does Juju have much value at the flex play? I actually think he does. I think that Juju Smith-Schuster showed you in that game last week that he does have value because, if nothing else, Patrick Mahomes knows him and trusts him, so he's going to throw him a few more targets than he probably deserves. So I actually think Juju is a very safe play in terms of a high floor. The RJ, D-R-O-P who? Oh, drop who? I probably drop Sermon. I drop Sermon because I don't really... If Jonathan Taylor comes back, his value is nothing. Brent, so I don't think Neighbors is playing this week. Should I start Metcalf, Robinson Jr., Irving? I'd actually start Metcalf. I think Metcalf's the best play. Dylan B. Chillin, thanks so much for throwing some confetti in the air. I want to give out another pick for tonight's. This is going to be a baseball game. I've got Yankees on the money line, everybody. I know Michael Wacha has pitched very well against the Yankees statistically, but Garrett Cole, closeout game. I think the Yankees finish off the Royals. I'll take Yankees on the money line. That's our first baseball pick that we're giving out. Jorge is the one. Trade BTJ. Oh, Kevin, thanks so much for subscribing, Kevin. Make sure you join our subscriber-only show tonight, Kevin. Make sure you join. Thanks for it. The Jorge is the one. Trade BTJ for Kirk and Jacobs. Yes. I'd rather have BTJ over Kirk, but to get Jacobs as well, and you need the running back, Jorge, Absolutely love the deal. Jared, Mason or Walker? It's Mason. The Seahawks are not a very good run defense. Mason, I see getting a touchdown. He didn't get a touchdown last week. Actually, I'll put that play up on the board. I've got Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason, anytime touchdown. So Jordan Mason, anytime touchdown. I know it's the most favorable. I know it's got the worst odds of any anytime touchdown play. I think it's the one that's most likely to hit. Manny, 1, 2, 4, 3, 6. Ray McLeod or Pierce? That's a great question. I think I go Ray McLeod just barely. Barely positive. Thanks for resubscribing. Manny, I don't like the matchup for Pierce. He's going up against the Tennessee Titans pass defense, which has been fantastic this year. I just don't like it. I know he's had some big splash plays. No Michael Pittman. He's definitely going to get targets. But Ray McLeod actually has the better matchup. So I'm going Ray McLeod, and I'm kind of holding my nose and hoping it works. Hattie, trade Lamar and Justin Jefferson for CeeDee and Kamara? No, I don't want to trade Lamar Jackson right now. And Justin Jefferson is proving to keep his status as a top wide receiver. Nathan, howdy to you. Thanks so much for the hat and the mustache. Ivan, thanks for subscribing again. Subscriber only show tonight at 11. So if you subscribe, we're going to answer your questions. We will get to all of them. So that way you're all set up for the weekend. Tony, would you start Dell or Amari Cooper? Both have good matchups. I'm leaning towards Dell, and the only reason for that is I trust CJ Stroud more than I trust Deshaun Watson. Both have a good matchup, but I'm going to go Dell over Amari Cooper. Evans or MHJ, both have really good matchups. The Packers is a very good matchup. Tampa Bay going up against the Saints, that's a very good matchup. I'm going to go Mike Evans because so far, Marvin Harrison Jr. has performed better at home than he has on the road, and he's on the road this week in Green Bay. So I'm going to lean slightly towards Mike Evans. It's a very close one for me, Evan, but I'm going to go Mike Evans over MHJ. Really appreciate you watching the show. If you love the content, the conversation, make sure you hit the follow button so you can join us every time that we go live. Shout out to Jennifer. Really wonderful having all of you guys as a part of this community, asking questions, getting involved in the conversation. So make sure you never miss when we're live and hit that follow button. And Brian, thanks so much for subscribing. To all of our subscribers, really appreciate you. Again, subscriber only show tonight at 11. So if you've got a lot of questions and you don't want to battle everybody else during the shows for all viewers, make sure you join our subscriber only show tonight at 11 p.m. That's Eastern time. Matt Moore, I'd go Dell over JSN. Dell over JSN. Jack Williams, really tricky one. I'm going to go Kirk Cousins over CJ Stroud. If Nico Collins had been healthy, I would go Stroud. But no Nico Collins. Christian Gonzalez covering Stephon Diggs. Outside of maybe Dell and Schultz, I don't love the receivers for CJ Stroud all of a sudden. So I'm going to go Kirk over Stroud, just barely, Jack Williams. Evan, Baker or Hurts? It's Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's the better play. P. Asha over on YouTube, pick 3. I'd go Mike Evans, I'd go Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'd go Mooney. So Evans, St. Brown, and Mooney, P. Asha. If Mooney doesn't play, Higgins would be the replacement. The RJ, both Raiders running backs are on waivers. Should I pick one up? The Raiders this week, to answer the question, are going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? The Pittsburgh Steelers' run defense this year is a top 5. So let's make sure we're calling things accurately. The Raiders are playing the Steelers. The Steelers are a great run defense. I'm not that high on the Steelers' running backs, if I can be honest. Zach, DK, Ayuk, or Higgins, pick 1. So Cincinnati this week going up against the New York Football Giants. Giants' pass defense is kind of mid, but it's still better. It's still better than the Seahawks. Seahawks are a tougher pass defense. Seahawks and the 49ers. I'm going to lean just slightly, I think, towards T. Higgins. Zach, I don't feel great about that, but I lean T. Higgins just barely. DeAndre, start 2, Debo and Evans. That's an easy one for me, DeAndre. Debo and Evans. I'm high on Debo because he's got great numbers historically against the Seahawks, rather. Jay Cardi. Brian Thomas Jr. for DK straight up. I don't hate the trade. I think I still prefer DK a little bit, so I'll say yes. I'm okay with it. Tyler Ola, start 3. Tyler with Philadelphia, the Eagles this week. Thanks, Funky Town. Thanks for resubscribing with the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Browns. Not a great matchup. Tyler, I think I'd go Reed, Amari Cooper, and Shaheed. The quarterback situation in New Orleans may make you pick someone else. If you don't want to go Shaheed, I get it. But for the moment, Reed, Amari Cooper, and Shaheed have the 3 best matchups. If you want to go A.J. Brown over Shaheed, I get it. I'm not in love with it, to be honest. DK, tougher matchup. It's between Shaheed and DK Metcalf. If you want to go with Shaheed, that's what I would probably do. But Metcalf is also a fine play if you want to fade that advice. Braden Space, I'd go Love and Kraft. I don't love doubling up. If you want to go Otten, I'm okay with it. Love and Otten if you don't want to double up on the Packers. But definitely start Love. John, great to see you, John. Trade Cook for Achan. Man, I don't think I would. I like James Cook more rest of season, actually, than Achan. Agorum, 44, Javonte or Dobbins in a full PPR. So these two are playing each other. The Denver run defense is better than the Chargers run defense. So for this one, I'm going to go Javonte. Agorum, I'm going Javonte out of those 2 options. Xavier, Najee Harris, or DeAndre Swift. I'm going Najee Harris, and for the wide receivers, I'm going Debo. So Xavier, I'm going Harris and Debo. Those would be the 2. MIK, start 2. I would start Bigsby. I'm leaning Bigsby, and I'm leaning slightly... I'm leaning Bigsby and James Conner. I don't love it, but I'm leaning Bigsby and James Conner. Those are the 2 for me. Funky Town, what's good? I'm going Amari Cooper. Tough matchups across the board. Amari Cooper as the best one. I'm leaning Amari Cooper against that Eagles pass defense. Amari Cooper, that's going to end up being the play for me. D-Rob, someone dropped a Dunze. Yes. I wouldn't spend 33% of my FAAB, but I would try and go after a Dunze. I like his matchup this week. Dallas Ogburn, I'd go DJ Moore and Montgomery. Dallas Ogburn, DJ Moore and Montgomery. Lucas Rathwell, I'm going McLaurin. McLaurin over Reed and MHJ. Lucas Rathwell, I'm going to go Scary Terry McLaurin. Fenny Whopper, should I trade Neighbors and Achan for Kamara and Moss? No, don't like that deal. Thanks, tip of the cap. Funky Town, appreciate you. Jay Cardi, Wilson, DK, and Pollard for Chase and Thomas. Who do you think wins the trade? Probably the Wilson, DK, and Neighbors side. I like the 3 for 2. I like having a running back in the mix. I think I prefer that side of the deal just barely. DJC FIFA, I would go, that's a good question. I would go Goff over Geno. The reason for that is the Dallas Cowboys pass defense gives me some reason to believe that they're going to be more vulnerable. Again, they lack the pass rush. So I'm leaning Goff just barely over Geno. And it's because that lack of the pass rush for the Cowboys. Ollie, Mason or Flowers? Mason. Michael, start Godwin or Wilson? Chris Godwin. Start Chris Godwin over Garrett Wilson. Isaac Daniel, Deontay Johnson or Adunze? Adunze's got the better matchup. Deontay Johnson's the wide receiver 1. That's a bit of a coin flip because I could talk myself into either side. I lean, I think, just slightly, just barely, I think, towards starting. I'm going to say Adunze. Isaac, I'll say Adunze, figuring A.J. Terrell is going to be on Deontay Johnson. I'll go Adunze just barely. Noah, Purdy, or Stroud. I'm going to go C.J. Stroud on that one. I'll go Stroud just barely over Purdy. Close. I like the matchup a little bit more. Jason Patrick Jr., bro, traded Mason and Mostert for Breece Hall. Did I win? I don't think so. I don't think so because I think Mason and Brees Hall actually have very similar value right now. The only way I see you winning it is if CMC comes back and Mason's like put on the shelf. If that's the case, you win the deal. But if Mason continues to play a RB1 role for the 49ers, I would say you lose the deal. So we'll have to see how time plays out. Nate G, I would go Shaheed and Mooney. Nate G, Shaheed and Mooney. User 3546. Drop Pickens and pick up Deontay Johnson? No, don't do that deal. User 3546. Do not do that deal. Mar, start Daniels or Kyler Murray. I'm going to start Jaden Daniels. The Ravens' pass defense has been awful. I'll start Jaden Daniels. He's been hot. DJC FIFA, I think Debo has a big game. Yes, historically, he's done very well against the Seahawks. I think Debo has a very big game. M. Baloran, I'd go Jaden Daniels over Lamar. Jaden Daniels over Lamar, believe it or not. Javi, Javi, I have Evans. Do I play him against the Saints? Yes. Mike Evans. Sean Sauce Dawn. I would go Terry McLaurin just barely over Jacobs. Very close. I wish you could start both of them. Sean Sauce Dawn, I really want to start McLaurin and Jacobs if I could. Rob, I'll go Baker over Kyler barely. Very close on this one, but I'm going to go Baker just barely. If you want to start Kyler, because he might get rushing yards as well, I get it. So I like both of them. I'm leaning Baker just barely. Shane Usher, I'd go Olave. I wish I could start him and Pollard, to be honest. You know what? I'm going to go Tony Pollard. Shane, I'm going to go Pollard. Because the quarterback changed in New Orleans, normally I would like Olave, but I'm going to go Pollard on this one. Pollard 1, Olave a close second. Ornex Swift, I'd go James Conner. Ornex Swift, I'd go James Conner barely. P. Asha, I'd go Baker. P. Asha, I'd go Baker. Lucas Rathwell, I'm going to start Mike Evans. Lucas Rathwell, Mike Evans. Braden Smith, I'm going to go Godwin, Debo, and Higgins. Braden Smith, Godwin, Debo, and Higgins. Thanks so much for the question. Hope you guys are loving the show. If you do, hit that follow button. We're live almost every single day, giving out picks, talking fantasy plays, obviously ranting about what's going on in the sports world. So if you love talking sports, Butt Fumble Sports is the place for you. Yes, I really did start a company called Butt Fumble Sports. We own our name. We own our logo. We're a real company, so make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you're part of this amazing community of sports fans that comes together every day. Shoe 310, Allen or Murray, Kyler Murray. Caleb Duvio, I'd go J.K. Dobbins. Caleb, I'm leaning J.K. Dobbins barely over Swift. The RJ, thoughts on trading for Tyreek and T. Higgins? I like trading for T. Higgins more than I like Tyreek, though Tyreek's value is going to come back in Week 8 when Tua rejoins the team. Straight shooter, Cousins over Allen. The RJ, it's scary, McLaurin. Rather have Terry McLaurin. Love where Terry McLaurin's value is going. Up. Renee, Two-Tone, thanks for subscribing, Two-Tone. To all of our subscribers, we will be live at 11 o'clock tonight. Subscriber-only show at 11 p.m., so don't miss it. Justin Eubanks, pick 3. Debo, Moore, and I'm leaning for the moment towards Mooney. Debo, Moore, and Mooney. I really am thinking it's between Olave, Mooney, and Reed. All are good plays. I think I trust Kirk Cousins and Mooney the most, though. So Debo, Moore, and Mooney. Derrick Henry for Chuba Hubbard and Josh Downs. No, I'm not trading Derrick Henry right now. His value is just too good. 49ers fan 1. Cleveland Browns are going up against the Eagles as a run defense. Lane Johnson, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you at the subscriber-only show tonight. Want to make sure you join that. Eagles as a run defense this year have actually struggled more than people think. So I think that as a running game, I think Ford's a better play. 49ers fan, I'd go Ford over Madison. Renee, I'd go White over Tank Bigsby. Appreciate the question. Hope you're doing well. Lane Johnson, I'd go Otten. Otten over Conklin. Lane Johnson, Otten over Conklin. Thanks for the question. Ryan Allen, would you trade Tank Dell and Williams for Achan and Calvin Ridley? No, I actually wouldn't. I think Tank Dell and Bigsby have a lot more value in the future. I think they've got upside, so I'm going to ride the lottery ticket plays. DJC FIFA, I'd go Olave. DJC FIFA, I'd go Chris Olave because the matchup. Bob, Lazard for Wandale? Yes, I'm okay with that trade. Just know, Lazard's value might come up with a new offensive coordinator, so it might be a bit of a risk. Crippler LLC, I'd go Tank Dell. Crippler LLC, I'd go Tank Dell. I like the matchup against the Patriots. Not for Stephon Diggs against Christian Gonzalez, but everybody else really liked Tank Dell this week. Shane Usher, I'm going to go Pitts. Yes, I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. I know it's going to be a risk, but I think this is a week in which he's got a good matchup. Aviush, I'd go Wicks. Aviush, I know Wicks let us down last week. I hope his hands perform better this week, but I do like him. Zane Lyons, thanks for subscribing, Zane. Zane, make sure you join us at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. Subscriber-only show. So if I miss any of your questions, if you're a subscriber, we'll get to all of them in the subscriber-only show. I stay on and answer as many questions as you guys throw my way. Ryan, I'd rather have Bigsby and Jamison Williams. Ryan, I'd rather have Bigsby and Jamison Williams. Tyler Ola, I think Schultz actually might be a good play. Tyler Ola, both are good matchups, but with no Nico Collins, I think Dalton Schultz's value is going to go up. So I'm going to lean towards Dalton Schultz. And by the way, for anyone who needs a tight end this week, check on Dalton Schultz's status, whether on the waiver wire or in a trade. With no Nico Collins, that might come up tonight, and there might be some good value there. So keep your eye on Dalton Schultz potentially being a better fantasy own the rest of the, let's say the next month. Let's say until Nico Collins is off the IR. Zane, pick 3 to start. Diggs, Pickens, Reed, Dell, and Jamo. I don't like Diggs' matchup against Christian Gonzalez. We've learned he's a shutdown corner. I'm leaning towards Dell, Reed, and Pickens. Dell, Reed, and Pickens. Zane, Dell, Reed, and Pickens would be the 3. Yes, I'd rather go Dell over Diggs, even though Dell is the wide receiver 2. His matchup is against a lesser corner. I don't like Diggs against Gonzalez. I'll take Dell, Reed, and Pickens. Kobe Lee, Wandale, Kirk, or Shaheed. I'd go Wandale and Shaheed. Wandale and Shaheed would be the 2. 49ers fan, trade Kupp or Puka Nacua. I'd probably trade Puka. I think Kupp comes back sooner, so I'm going to take Kupp over Puka Nacua. I'd rather own him. Michael, Reed, Moore, or Shaheed. I'd start Reed and Moore. Michael, I'd go Reed and Moore would be the 2. Will, Dynasty, Olave for Kirk, and a 2nd and 2/3. You're getting a ton of value back, so I would probably say yes. You're getting so much value back for only Olave. And with no Derek Carr, Olave's value could come down. So I'll say yes to the trade, Will, only because of a dynasty and it's a future play. So Peace Control FN, start 2. I would start Moore and I would start Olave. Moore and Olave, I think, are actually the 2 for me. Philadelphia against Cleveland, not a great matchup. I'll go Olave and Moore. Those are the 2. Ryan Allen, pick 2 for the week. I would go Dobbs. Just want to check on the Commanders, Rundy. I'd go Dobbs and Justice Hill. Believe it or not, Dobbs and Justice Hill, I think, are the 2 for me. Large Bino, Bijan for Hill and Dobbins. It's okay. I don't hate it. I would probably say yes to it, but I understand the Hill and Dobbins, big question marks there. Gavin, I'd go McLaurin over Etienne. Gavin, I'd go McLaurin over Etienne. Muhammad, start 2. Muhammad, I would start JSN and Chase Brown. JSN and Chase Brown. I don't love it, but you don't have great players this week. Tough matchups. I'll go JSN and Chase Brown. Creeves Realtor, trade Kraft and Jacoby Myers for Nico. You're not getting any value from him for 4 weeks. That said, I do think he has value once he comes back. So if you can move on from Kraft and Jacoby Myers and just wait on Nico to ultimately have value, I'm okay with the deal, actually. Smokers Jokers, trade Bijan and Braylon Allen for Connor and Olave. I don't like it, actually. I'm going to say no to the deal. I think Bijan and Allen might have some good value. I think short term it's a good trade. I think long term it might not be a good trade. Jack McGinty just got offered Higgins, Achin, and Olave for Neighbors. You're getting Neighbors or you're getting Higgins, Achin, and Olave. Who's ever getting the 3 players, that's the side I want. I'll give up Neighbors for 3 players, no problem. Ricky 4, I'd go Brock Bowers. Ricky 4, I think I lean Brock Bowers at this point. Kevin Harrell, pick 3 this week. Kevin, I would go Olave, Cook, and Evans. Olave, Cook, and Evans would be the 3 for me, buddy. Mikhail, Mason, a good play over Connor? Yes. Seahawks do not have a very good run defense. Mason is a good play tonight. Very high on Mason. Yep. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Make sure you hit that follow button. Take a quick second, hit the follow button. That way you never miss when we're live. Two-tone, Caleb Williams or Allen? It's Caleb Williams. First of all, his performances the last few weeks are better and better and better, but he's also playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, the worst pass defense in the NFL. Got to go Caleb Williams this week. Happy hour, trade Mason or risk CMC not coming back? I'm not trading Mason. I'm keeping him no matter what. Cornelius, Montgomery, and Mooney for Breece Hall and Amari Cooper. I'd rather have Montgomery and Mooney, believe it or not. I just don't know what I'm getting from Breece Hall week to week right now. Lucas, start 2. Mason would certainly be 1. And I think I'd probably go Chuba Hubbard. Mason and Chuba Hubbard. It's tough to sit JT, but Mason and Chuba Hubbard have the better matchups, Lucas. User 2958, I'd go Mooney. User 2958, I'd go Mooney. Bozy, Chase Brown limited at practice due to a sore quad. Starter sit. I'd sit him. He doesn't have a great matchup. If you're forced to play him, I get it. But overall, I'd probably sit him. 313 Worms Mason for 25 receiving yards. Not a bet I want to make. I like his rushing yards more than I like his receiving yards. I like him on an anytime touchdown more than anything, actually. By the way, really quick, I want to give out another player prop, but I'm going to jump on over to baseball. I want to give a baseball player prop bet for all those folks out there that are going to be watching these games. Really quick, the game at 8 o'clock tonight between the Yankees and the Royals. Michael Wacha, in his career, has pitched very well against every Yankee except Juan Soto. I'm going to take Juan Soto over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Juan Soto is a big-time player. He's been in a World Series run before. Juan Soto over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. On the other side, there is one Royal who hits very, very well against Garrett Cole, Mikhail Garcia. Mikhail Garcia has actually hit Garrett Cole very well. I'm going to put him on the board for over half a hit. Mikhail Garcia, over half a hit. That is on my big board as well. Just over half a hit is minus 137 right now on Prize Picks, minus 165 on BetMGM. He's got a hit in 3 of his last 5 games against Garrett Cole. Good numbers in his career. Only other hitter I have my eye on against Garrett Cole would potentially be Bobby Witt Jr. He is 2 for 6 lifetime. Bobby Witt Jr. over half a hit. Good play as well. Just not as good a value. That's why I'm not putting him up on the board. So Mikhail Garcia over half a hit. Juan Soto over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. 2 more plays for you up on our big board. Luke, Tank Bigsby over ETN. Luke, Bigsby over ETN would be the play for me. Dermont Drew, I'd go Ford and Pitts. 49ers fan, I'd go Kirk Cousins. 49ers fan, Kirk Cousins would be the play for me. Dale Earnhardt, thanks for following. Shady Esco, how do you feel about me receiving yards? Jordan Mason, yeah, I'm not crazy about him. Just none of those players got my interest. Barely Positive, thanks for the confetti. Appreciate you. We'll get another pickup on the board in a moment. Let's switch on over actually to the Guardians and Tigers game. Let's see if there's a good player prop bet in Guardians and Tigers. So that's the next one we're going to look at. Reese Olson on the mound for the Tigers. No one really hits him well. Bo Naylor, 1-for-1, but no one really hits him well. On the other side, Tanner Bybee. There are a number of Tiger hitters who hit him well. Matt Vierling owns him. Matt Vierling over half a hit is a very good play. Matt Vierling over half a hit. We're putting that up on the board. Matt Vierling over half a hit. If you told me he got a hit run and an RBI over the 1.5, I like that as well. But Matt Vierling over half a hit, feel very strongly about it. Nathan Sherwood Jacobs. Michaela. I'd go with the Texans defense. Texans against the Patriots. They're going to get some sacks of Drake May. I'm going Texans defense. Give up on downs for Jamo? Yes, Andrew. Yes, I probably would. I'd rather have Jamison Williams. Joshi traded Olave for Marvin Harrison Jr. 2 thumbs up. Like the trade. User 49041. I'm leaning just slightly towards B. Allen. Bo Allen would be the one. Bo Allen. Barely positive. I don't like the players you have this week. I'm not going to lie to you. Tennessee going up against the Colts. I think I probably like Ridley. Ridley would be one of the two. I'll go Ridley, and I'm going to go Lockett. I'll go Lockett just as a lottery, like a gamble, but maybe he has a big player or two. I'll go Ridley and Lockett. I really don't like Bucky Irving's matchup. That's where I come out on this one. We are closing in on the end of our show, everybody. Only a few minutes left. We will do a subscriber-only show tonight. If you subscribe on TikTok, join us at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Subscribers on TikTok can ask as many questions as they want in that subscriber-only show. So if you have more than one question or you don't want to battle all these people who are watching for attention, join us at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. 11 p.m. Eastern, we will do a subscriber-only show tonight. Tom, Colts wide receiver pick would be Pierce. Diego Garcia, I'd go Ayuk. M. Nunez, I'd go Dell. I would go Tank Dell. Ragin' Cajun, I'd go Derrick Henry and Gibbs. Oh man, I love all of your matchups. I'd go Derrick Henry and Gibbs, I think, just barely. Derrick Henry and Gibbs would be the 2. Ricky 4, start 3. MHJ, Olave, and Pickens. MHJ, Olave, and Pickens would be the 3 for me. Frankie Trey, would you drop Bucky, Javonte, or Lazard for one of the backup running backs of the Bills? No. Kobe Lee, Texans defense. Brent, I'd go Kirk Cousins. Raging Cajun, should I put one in the flex? Yes. Raging Cajun, absolutely. I would start all 3 of them this week. Yes. Queeron Avery, I'd go Pickens and Pollard. Chuba Hubbard and Downs for CMC. Yeah, I'd actually do that trade. Appreciate it. Ricky 4, MHJ, Olave, and Pickens. Would be the 3. Max, I'd go Rashid Shaheed. Man, 15-15. I lean Zach Moss barely. Just barely. Amato Martinez, start 2. Amato, I would start Olave and Ayuk. Q, I would start Debo, St. Brown, and Eileen Metcalf. Debo, St. Brown, and Metcalf would be the 3. Nice Kuzar, I'd go Adunze. The RJ, trade Eckler and Kirk for Terry. Yes. Alex, do I like JSN tonight? He's okay. I think he'll have a decent game. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you're enjoying the show. Subscriber only show at 11 p.m. Eastern. So if you subscribe on TikTok, you can join that show and get all your questions answered. Mason, start Stroud or Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Cousins over Stroud. Ed, just got Kyron and Kenneth Walker for Amon-Ra Moss. Yes. Was that good? Yes. Good trade. JGLG, go Cousins. The RJ, yes, I like the trade. KCE, I would start Ford. BCal 19, I would go Montgomery and Olave. BCal. Levi, trading Hall and BTJ for Achan and Marvin Harrison Jr. Bad deal. Wouldn't do it. Frankie, sit one. I'll go sit Khalil Shakir. Frankie Trey, sit Khalil Shakir. If you hit the follow button, that way you never miss our show, no matter the platform. TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, hit the follow button. That way you never miss when we're live. Amato, I think Spencer Rattler was actually a sneaky good pick. He's got a lot of talent, a lot of upside. I think he's actually going to have a very good game. DK or AJ Brown, I'm going to go DK Metcalf, barely. DK Metcalf, just barely. XXD Finn, start Kraft or Ridley. I'd go Calvin Ridley. I'm leaning slightly towards Calvin Ridley. Logan, Chase, ETN for Chase Brown. I'm actually okay with that trade. 49ers fan, Kyron for Pollard, wouldn't do it. I think you're giving up too much value. James Saz, Fields, Cousins, Daniel Jones. James, I'd go Cousins. James, I'd go Cousins. Michaela Petro, thanks so much for showing love. Car 1, I'd go Scary Terry. Car 1, Scary Terry over DK Metcalf. Owen, Scary Terry for Breece Hall. It sounds like a great trade, but frankly, Breece Hall's been really unpredictable, and Scary Terry's value is starting to become very consistent. Colin Peterson, I go Wicks. Colin Peterson, I go Wicks. Even though he had a bad game last week, I think he does bounce back. Blake, I'd go Ayuk. Blake, I'd lean Ayuk. Steve, I'd go Pitts. Steve, I'd go Pitts over Kraft. Hawk Roth got Chase for Mason and Ridley 2 weeks ago. Okay, I think it's still a good trade. C. Mankowski just traded BTJ and Singletary for Jacobs. It's okay. I think it's a bit of an upgrade, so I think you're okay. Donkey Kong, I'd go JSN. Donkey Kong, JSN. Brock Purdy or Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins. Sutton, I'd go Kirk Cousins. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content in the show. I'm going to sign off now. I will be live tonight at 11 p.m. If you love the content, if you love the conversation, subscribe on TikTok and join us at 11 p.m. tonight. We'll do a subscriber-only show at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. That way you guys can get more questions answered. So grateful for you guys joining the show. Make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're with us every time that we're live. I will be live again for everybody tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And a reminder, if you want every bet that I make every day, I do research on sports every day. I spend hours every day researching games, researching matchups, everything I can get my hands on, and I put them into my picks. I give away my picks for free every day. I never charge for them. I never put behind a paywall. So make sure if you want to see every bet that I make every day, DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports. You'll get every pick that I make every day for free. Why? Because you're a good sports fan. You work hard for your money. You shouldn't have to pay for my picks. I give them away for free. So just DM me on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports, and you can get every pick I make every single day. Hope you guys stay healthy. I hope you guys stay safe. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. Should be a good game. Enjoy the baseball playoffs tonight. Should be a lot of fun. And I will see you right back here at 11 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. tonight for another show. Only for subscribers, though. So make sure you're subscribing on TikTok if you want to join us at 11. Until then, hope you have a wonderful night. We'll catch you later. Goodbye, everybody.